So, Chad, how are you? You all right?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Are you?
Yeah, sound, yeah.
Class.
Messing about in the studio there.
Yeah, just working on a band from lab, just doing some production stuff.
Yeah. Can you name the band?
Yeah, China Lane.
Right.
They haven't really done much just yet. It's kind of early days for them, and I think they're still trying to fiddle out like the sound and stuff like that. But yeah, it's going well.
Sounded pretty cool. It's quite interesting for a band that I guess if they haven't done much to straight away they're like coming to you and saying like, can you produce this stuff? It's probably quite a smart way to do things, isn't it?
Yeah, because it gets them off at a good starting point, I guess. I don't know what they've done before. I don't know if they've been like doing stuff for or whatever. Yeah. I'm not sure.
I found that was one of the reasons that I bang on about raves all the time, because it's like a frame of reference for me in like the music world. But because up until that point, like apart from the bassist Dale, who like we were just stuck for a bassist, like me, Charlton and Curtis had all like been in bands that had toured and played shows, you know what I mean? And we'd done a little bit of touring together, just like with them supporting. So by the time it came to us coming together and going, right, we're going to start a band, we just didn't need that like feeling out process, you know, playing Liberties 30 times and like, you know, with like amps this big, like you would got it to a certain level, and that kind of like, it helps a lot, I think, if you can go straight away. And we did straight away, we did some pretty good recordings with Pierre Rich and stuff, you know what I mean? And just kind of laid low for ages and then went, bam, there's like a kind of well-produced song. Yeah. Instead of just like a demo from the fucking garage or something.
There's something to be said, isn't there, about starting off and already having your things kind of mapped out, I guess. When you've played in bands like both of us for years and years and years, since you can probably remember playing an instrument, it's kind of, you forget, don't you, that some bands do just start out without any sort of frame of reference or anything.
I love it. It's like, I find it quite endearing when like, and it's almost like I'm like fucking getting bands are still doing it when like, I don't know, like something will pop up on Facebook or Twitter or something and it'll be a band there's literally some kids that are like 14 or 15 and they're like, you know, the dad's filmed it on I guess filmed it on the phone now, you know what I mean? And I'm like, fucking go on. I'm like, it's still alive.
Bandad.
Like,
the Bandad's still out there doing it, right?
And I'm like, class. I'm like, just fucking like, I love it, because it just feels like, you know, I guess we think about music and recording music and playing music on like, it's like on a next step now, isn't it? Whereas like, I still love that, just that like fucking raw passion's there. Yeah, definitely. Like, I was saying to Phil on one of the podcasts that I was in this fucking terrible band when I was like 15, as we all probably were. And we all used to talk about making it, and we're like, that was a thing, you know what I mean? We were like, one day we're gonna fucking make it. And like, and I see these other little bands, and I'm like, that's in them, and I'm like, just go on, like, just have a go, you know what I mean? What's the worst that can happen? Bless him. So
it's true.
How did you get? How did you start? When did you first get into music? Was it something from like a really young age, or?
Well, when I was always surrounded by music, with my dad especially. My dad, when I was a kid, Dad always had a guitar in the house, and I used to always pick it up, didn't know what I was doing. I just kind of look at it and just pull things and like just be like, whoa, there's a little picture of me. He's got this like old like black electric guitar from like the 80s.
Class.
So it was always kind of, and he was always playing music, like whether it was Bowie, the Eagles, oh god, the list goes on, like Led Zeppelin, you know, that kind of thing. I was always listening to music. So it's something I've never not been around. And then I think I must have been about 9 years old. And my dad got me a little classical guitar, you know, on the 30 quid things. And like, it's just one what everyone starts off on, and they just kind of fiddle around.
Was it an acoustic?
With the nylon strings.
Yeah, and they're like, they're like 3/4 size.
Yeah. So I was like, whoa, this is awesome. And then I picked it up, and I was like, oh god, this is too hard. I put it down. Didn't pick it up for like, god, it must have been like a year or something. Then about a year later, I was about 10 years old, into skating, listening to loads of bands. But there was this one moment when I went to Florida, went to Disney, and just me and my dad, and it was really funny. He went into this like dad competition thing. I think he got pulled into it somehow wherever we were, and it was in one of the parks, and it was like this kind of like dad quiz or something. It was like, it was hilarious, but my dad didn't win. But the runners-up prize was a Drive-Thru Records compilation. And it was like an absolute game changer. There's bands like the Benjamins on there, like Phoenix TX. Like really early Newfound Glory. It was unreal. So that was the moment where I was like, music.
I'm here.
And so I went on like listening to that all the time. started skating, and then I was like, well, I've got a guitar, I could pick up, I could do some of this, and then started doing it. And then from the age of 9 really is where it kicked in, about towards 10 really. And then this guy came into our school, started doing some guitar lessons. I joined in for a bit. It wasn't, I'd already started playing a bit by that point. But it was more like FOMO. Like, I didn't want anyone else to do it. And then be like, oh, damn, I'm not in. So I was like, right, I can't not be doing this. Went in and started doing some of them, learned some tunes. I think we learned like Sting, Every Breath You Take, House the Rising Sun by the Animals. And then, so that was kind of it. And then I kind of just had written and played songs since that age. It was funny, there's a friend of mine, and we were about 11 or something, like year 5, year 6. We were really into like Linkin Park and stuff at the time. And he used to write the raps, and then I'd write the choruses. And I used to play on my little classical guitar. And he'd be doing all the rapping. Writing like songs about like sort of a degenerated society. We didn't even know what that meant. You know, we didn't even like have any sort of social awareness. We were like kids, but we just somehow felt like the world was going down, man. So we were writing these songs, and it was really funny. I've got them on tape somewhere. We recorded them on a karaoke machine.
Class.
And so we did that. And
then, karaoke machine.
Literally, you could. There's this like, I had this mic. And you put the tape in. You literally press record, and it recorded everything. But it was amazing. It was unreal. So you just get like a tape from like a blank one. And I just like record loads of like hilarious stuff.
That's fucking
and then fast forward a few years, went to secondary school, like first year secondary school, like laid low. Didn't want to be like that guy. And then as it went on, I found some like friends who were into music as well. And we started playing together in his like dining room in his house.
All right.
And he had this kit set up. His older brother played drums. His older brother was into like lots of punk rock and stuff. And we started our own like punk rock band. And we started out pretty much just covering Misfits, like exclusively just Misfits.
What were you called?
Awful Me. We were called Awful Me. It's a classic name. Classic. And I'm sure we had like a few names. And then so like literally from the age of 9, it didn't really stop really. And then after that, we kind of just fizzled away. We'd rehearse every week. At the boxing hall in Redcar. And then never ended up doing any gigs because we were too young. We were too young to even play a bar, club, nothing. We couldn't do anything because we were like at that point like 12, 13 or something. And then just kept doing it anyway because it was fun. Started learning a few things how to record music on Cubase, and kind of stayed at there, and then ended up joining another band with my mates when we were like 15. Since then, God, like band after band after band, really until.
What was because I remember Sailors and Satans, but there was a band before that.
Played in Heroes Fall First.
That was called
Heroes Fall First. Because we supported you guys once, I think.
Did you?
At Liberties,
Was that 9 Lives for Skydives?
9 Lives for Skydives, So we spotted you guys.
So that's fucking like. When I was obviously thinking about doing this, and I thought, well, like, I knew that we'd known each other for a while, but that's probably 12 years ago, that.
It will be, It will be. I was like 14, 15.
Something like that.
Playing in venues that I wasn't supposed to be in. But it was funny because the rest of the lads are all a few years older, so I kind of just like hidden behind them.
I was a bit like that with 9 Lives. I was a bit younger.
Yeah, because you were younger.
Yeah. So they were all like, I mean, I feel like they were a bit like, not the last chance, but they really wanted to put everything into it, where I was still cutting my teeth, and it was just a bit of a fuck around for me. But it was a bonus because I got, like, I could go out and say I was in a band and play drums in a band. Didn't you know, like, all the things of like being in a band, but it was quite strange. But we go back some time here, don't we?
Yeah, definitely.
And then Sailors and Saints. And then did you with Cape Cub, was it, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like, am I right in saying that you probably write a lot of the stuff and then kind of take it to the other guys? And
it's a funny process with Cape Cub because I still write and produce it myself, and then but as it's kind of gone on, and as the band's evolved, and as like the relationships within the band have evolved, and we're all really on the same page musically. Like I've got the lads more and more involved with things. Process, so like I'll say to Jack, like, do you want to come in and just like put some guitar down on here? And I can trust Jack in that if I literally just plug him in, he'll come out with something awesome. So I'm like, sometimes like a song just needs a bit of Jack. And then that's kind of where it is, and like it's a much more collaborative process than it was. It started out just me and a laptop, really.
Yeah, I suppose that's always going to happen. Like if after playing gigs and touring and shows and stuff with people, you get to know them so well that obviously you can then write like music.
Yeah,
with them,
definitely. And I was really protective over it at first.
Yeah, it's natural, isn't it? To do that over the creative thing. It's like bringing a collaborative or anything, I guess, isn't it? You're like straight away, you're like play it like that.
Because you know exactly what you want it to sound like, and I think as that sort of that relationship evolves, you don't need to sort of direct it as such. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. So and that's kind of where it's at with that. But yeah, like I said, it just started out with me and a laptop, just kind of like messing around, producing stuff, and then. But at the beginning, I worked with a few other producers as well. All right. And that's kind of like where I learned a lot of the production stuff. Mm-hmm. So we did like the first EP was kind of half produced by me, half sort of co-produced with other people. Yeah. In London. That was an exciting period. Yeah, trying like working with all these people, trying to learn what I was doing and stuff like that. Just that whole
creative process. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second EP I recorded with a producer called Cam Blackwood. Okay. And he sort of fully produced that one. I just sort of let him produce it. Yeah. I took the songs to him. And that was wicked. That was an awesome experience. I learned so much in them sessions about recording and kind of how to get things done, because he's got a wicked discography and he had a lot that he could bring to it, and I think that was healthy for me as well. Mm-hmm. Also helped me let go a little bit sometimes, and I think it's good to have that, and then when you revisit it on your own terms, you come back refreshed, I guess. And
it helps a lot if it's a peer, if it's someone you look up to and respect a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
So you can then go. So you can give him that much trust, because you go, well, he's succeeded in this, and this. He's put out some bangers. Yeah. So if I give him, I can actually let go of that. And,
definitely.
And see what he does.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's like what you said, like the collaborative thing is, it's hard to do first. Yeah. But then it's a good thing.
Once you get your head around it, you're like, oh my god, like it just blows up the potential of it all, doesn't it? Really, I guess. I always kind of knew that you were taking it a little bit more seriously than perhaps a lot of other bands in Teesside, because, I mean, even like between me and you, I guess in Teesside we must have seen 500 bands come and go. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I remember when you went to get a song produced by the guy from Futures.
Oh yeah,
was that Sailors and Saints?
That was Sailors and Saints. Yeah.
When you went to do that, I remember specifically at the time Chad's got his head screwed on here, and I thought, because like how many other bands in Teesside would have put the money and the time and effort into like actually travelling down somewhere, and because the scenes by nature, scenes of like music scenes in towns become quite almost like. Incestuous is the wrong word, but like
I know where you're coming from.
So you start thinking, oh well, I don't need to go to Cambridge. Is that where you went?
We went North London.
North London.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I got Cambridge from.
Roll with it.
And, to all the way down there to produce a song with him. Yeah. Like, why don't I just fucking write a song with Charlton, or like I'll get Nathan to record it. What's wrong with Nathan? You know what I mean? So that when you kind of took that extra step and went over there, I thought, potential to obviously do more, and obviously it might not have, like that band might have fizzled out for whatever reason, but I'm sure there's lessons you learned from there, and then 100%. Took to Cape Cub. And
definitely, man, like just literally, because I think you're right. Incestuous, if there's another word for incestuous, it's kind of like a self-contained thing, isn't it? I think breaking out of that, it can be really healthy. I think people do it more often these days, especially with like social media and stuff. This was like 2008, so something like that. So when we did that, everything was still in its infancy with regards to like the music.
People connecting.
You can do it. Like there's no WeTransfer of fire stems over to someone to work on. So for us, it was like, right, let's all get in the car. Yeah. We all got in at Mark, our guitarist's car, who's now the keyboardist in Cape Cub. Yeah. We got into his car. We drove down. We literally crammed it full of stuff, and went down. Yeah, and it was awesome. It was really first time we worked in a proper studio. First time like we'd not just been recorded, but we'd been produced. Yeah, and it was my first experience of like production in that sense, and how important that was in the process. I got laryngitis on the last day, and it was awful. It was horrible. The day I was going to record vocals, and I could hardly get anything out. Right. And then when it came to it, he was just like, just relax, just do it, you'll be all right. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. Anyway, I did it, and it ended up being all right. And I think it was my first lesson on like post-production with vocals as well.
Okay.
How you can polish a turd. And that, it was hugely inspiring. And then we came back. The band didn't last much longer from that, but that was what started me off doing my own production and stuff. And that's kind of like, really, that was like, you know, one of them moments that kind of led to like what was to come, I guess.
It's funny because to a certain extent, people don't, and when I say people, I mean general public, probably don't understand the role of a producer within music. And I guess if they're shaped by music videos or things that they might be seeing on documentaries and things like that, is the producer is just a guy who sits behind a nice big board and presses record and pushes some buttons. But the producer can be such it's like a sixth or whatever member of the band, isn't it? Like
absolutely.
And like doing that role, I find it really interesting. I'd like to have a go, but I'm so like, you know, I mean, in terms of like my knowledge of music production and writing and stuff, I find it really fascinating. You know, people like Rick Rubin who have, I mean, I know he's a bit crazy, but they're on like twists on how to get the best performance out of people, and it's
he's insane though. Like he doesn't use reverb at all.
Right.
He refuses to use any sort of in the box reverbs or anything. So one like characteristic from Rick Rubin's production is like dry as hell. Yeah. And then when you listen to it, you get it. Like when you listen to Chili Peppers, when you listen to all the hip hop he's produced, when you listen to like Slipknot, like from every single thing of what he's done, he's got this real sound to what he does, and some people love it, some people just doesn't work for them.
I guess, and that's part of the right producer matching up with the right band. Because all those bands that you named there, it probably works quite well not having any reverb. You know, Chili Peppers probably don't need it because they're so funky and like staccato and sharp
and snappy and that.
Slipknot, there's no room for it because there's 9 fucking you know what I mean, there's so much going on, like shut some reverb and you've been like whoa.
Hip hop again, like
it's dry naturally because it's so quick, I guess. I mean, I'm sure if you kind of went through his discography, there'd probably be arguments to put it in somewhere. But I don't know his stuff well enough to kind of argue that. It's funny, and I've been listening to the new Marmoset album. I think that was produced by Gil Norton or Butch Vig. I can't remember which one.
Both really good producers.
Whichever one it was. It's always been really good with female vocalists.
Might be Butch Vig. Because of Garbage.
It's not. It's the one. I knew it was the person who produced Garbage. And it sounds fucking phenomenal. It's really, really good. And I don't think they've put an album out for years. And then they've been active. They've been touring for a long time. And it's only the second album, I think. But it's really good. It only came out on Friday. But that kind of listening to it, and I was going, this is like a case study in like the right producer having a massive creative effect on the right band. You know what I mean? So, definitely. Is there any producers out there you'd love to work with? Any dream matchups?
There's quite a few. One of them would definitely be Jack Antonoff. So he was in the band Fun. Right. He was in them, and then he went off and did a band called Bleachers.
All right.
And they're wicked. Like the kind of stuff he does with Bleachers is unreal. But he's kind of he works predominantly female artists. Okay. But he's wrote things that you'd never even like imagine. He's wrote like Taylor Swift, Lorde, Banks, like who else? Just loads of stuff. And it's wicked. He's been working with the Killers recently as well. Right. He's got his amazing sound. So Jack Antonoff would be cool. Dev Hines, out of Blood Orange, using Lightspeed Champion.
What was
his stuff's wicked?
He was in that crazy when there was like that new wave scene in
that Lightspeed Champion, was it? Oh no, it was one before that. Test Icicles.
That's one.
Yeah, he's wicked. Like he was a massive inspiration for me. Right. Starting to do like my own production in terms of like sounds and sonics and space and how you use samples and things like that. A lot of stuff that I haven't necessarily been able to explore within my work as Cape Cub, but it's stuff that when I'm working with other people or writing for the people or whatever, I always try and throw some of that in. They're just two, but there's loads of people. Like that's on the bucket list.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Class. And what's Cape Cub doing at the minute? Are you writing, or are you in the middle of like just hitting out a load of live shows? Or
we've got some live shows coming up in Feb, which will start off the new year.
Yeah.
We kind of, to digress slightly, we started off sort of doing gigs when Cape Cub first started, and we didn't really know what it needed to be live. I didn't know what it needed to be live. The songs that I was writing.
Do you mean what it kind of needed from a production standpoint?
Live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was that actually, which was kind of like a retrofit for the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I had like written these songs. Funnily enough, they got a bit more attention than I expected.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit, we need to start playing some gigs.
Yeah.
And we started doing them, and we just weren't ready. I didn't really, because I'd spent 2 years at that point just writing, learning to produce. I'd just like forgotten really the craft of playing live shows. And
you've hit the nail on the head there. It is a craft, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And the more you do it, the better you get.
Yeah.
And then, so like a couple of years down the line now, we've kind of had a complete change in the lineup of the band. Mm-hmm. We've filled out the sound tremendously with our keyboardist who's in and all sorts. And we've all sort of, especially like me and Mendo have been in right since the start, since I ever even thought of the name Cape Cub.
Is that the drummer?
Yeah. And then Jack came in not too long after. Yeah, man. And then we've kind of grown as musicians as well, and learned how to be live musicians. Do you know what I mean? You don't get any more takes or anything. Yeah. As a vocalist and all those kind of things. And anyway, now we're at the stage where the live show is super, super, super important, because we've got it to a stage where we're like, every gig we're like coming off and we're like, that was alright, wasn't it? Yeah. Before it was like, God's sake, man.
Why didn't we?
Yeah. So now we've got this set and we're super excited about it, and it's a big priority for us this year to get that out live. Class. And then again, like you said, like we've gone back to the recordings, and when I've been producing, I've thought, right, how is this going to work live? Because at first I didn't think about it. Yeah. And that factors in hugely now with the sound, and that's why the recordings are much sort of more like, sort of, I guess, a bigger, more euphoric sound. Cool. And it's something we can sort of put across live better now. And so that's coming up. We've got another single coming out in Feb, and another single not too long after that. Cool. So it's all busy with that. And then I'm kind of feeling the rest of my time doing production and stuff and writing for other people as well, which is awesome. Yeah. Because I've got a scatterbrain, and I know for a fact, like, I couldn't live in Cape Cub world forever. Like in my head, do you know what I mean? I'm just, you know, I'm in the car earlier today. 1 minute I'm like listening to Carly Rae Jepsen's album for the production, and the songwriting, which is unreal on that album. And then the next minute I've got Emma Rosa on. Yeah. So for me, I'm like, I was like throwback centre. I was literally like, that is my head all the time. Yeah. So I couldn't possibly focus on one thing all the time and need to like have these other outlets. Otherwise I go crazy. Yeah.
Do you know what? The more creative people I speak to, the more that's a factor. Like me and Carly had quite a nice conversation about how like my brain works in a similar way, just like tangent. And you have your project and your thing that you love, and you put your hard work into it. Yeah. But if you just did, like you say, if you just did that forever, you just fucking. Oh my god, you would. I find that like by doing perhaps like a little shoot off, or producing another song for someone else, it helps when you come back to that, because you pick up like
100%. Yeah, it totally does.
It's like painting, isn't it? You can have your masterpiece, but if you didn't do other things and try other techniques and stuff on other things, then it's not gonna come out as good. I think definitely it's a massive part of the process.
And I think any time when you're doing something creative, and this is one thing that I massively believe in, is like, I don't know about you, but I've got like input and output cycles in my life. So I'll go for like 3 months without writing a song. Yeah. But in that 3 months, I'm like listening, I'm observing, I'm watching. Yeah. I'm sort of taking in everything around me. I'm experiencing life. I'm like pulling all these things that I might not even realise I'm doing. Yeah. I'll find another interest. I'll fixate on something. So like a
TV show.
I'll just and then that'll all sort of like be going through my head, and I'll be sort of processing it subconsciously or whatever. And then I'll hit a day where I'll write a song and I'll be like, wicked, and then songs will just come after that, and then like and that's kind of how I know it works differently for different people, and some people can kind of do it more 9 to 5, some people can do it sort of really switch those parts off in the brain.
I can't.
That's the thing, innit? So having those sort of them sort of natural periods of your life cycles, where you're sort of bringing things in and then sort of giving things out.
Do you know what? I've never even thought about it like that, and it probably does happen with me, and I never even like.
Do you have like 3 months where you're like, or 2 months or 1 month where you just nothing's happening? You're like, oh God,
probably.
I'm just totally like not.
Yeah.
Where am I supposed to be?
Well, yeah, I feel unproductive, but I kind of force myself into doing, other things for for my job and stuff. It's if I want it to be, the job I've got can be incredibly creative, so I can kind of like force myself to make a short video about tailoring or something like that. So I don't know. I've never really thought about it like that. I'll have to have the things though, and I'd never even considered it. And Lottie mentioned it last night, so I'm totally freaked out that like you just kind of like brought it up. Well, we were talking about I can't remember why, but we were talking about my family and we talk about history and I was on about my dad for some reason, and she said, "Oh, your dad is the type of person that pulls everything in, pulls it all in, and then thinks and digests it for ages, and then we'll like mention something about it like fucking 6 months later or something, and then she went, you're the opposite. You just like output, you know what I mean? And but I'll have to have a think about that. I mean, in terms of input, like a lot all the time. And even from being like a young kid, and I mean like from like 9 or 10, similar thing. My dad always had music on in the house. He let me he had this amazing like rack with like an amp, a record player, tapes, CD player, and he had always records all over the house, always CDs and tapes and stuff. And when I was 9 or 10, he was like, I'm gonna teach you how to use a CD player, but he was like, it's a very expensive piece of equipment, like no fucking like jam on your hands while you're trying to put a CD in and stuff. So he was like, you've got to promise me you'll look after it. Like he had like speakers and headphones that he loved.
Was it like a new world to you?
Yeah, well, I was like, finally, I was like, look at all these shiny boxes I can open, and like, so it was like, just have a look at whatever you want, like pick whatever you want, put them in and like listen to them. So. And from then on, I reckon I've probably had headphones on for like 90%. You know when you're a kid and you're like getting the bus into town and stuff? Yeah. Like, I could never understand the children that, if they were travelling on their own, obviously if you're mates, it's different. They just didn't have headphones on. I was like, And even now...
Do you really find the sound of that bus interesting?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? And this is pre-smartphone as well. So this is like Nokia 3210. You can only send so many fucking text messages because you run out of credit. But... yeah, it's bizarre, and up until now, so I think, well, I don't know, if I think about it, I maybe get so much input all the time that maybe that's why I'm churning stuff out. But I guess before the podcast, because this is quite a nice, I'm kind of like flexing my muscles a little bit, because I'm doing this once a week at the minute, and it's quite hard.
Keep on top of it.
Yeah, get guests, edit it, put it out, and just like, and now I think this is episode 6, and I'm like, like, people talk to me about it, and they're like, "Oh, like when's the next one out?" And I'm like, next week. But then I'm like, so I'm now like planned like a month in advance, because
class.
Which is it's nice, because I guess I kind of have a little bit of a responsibility. I've said I'm going to do something, so now I've got to fucking do it. So I almost don't have a choice if I ever lull in here.
That's a good point, actually. The commitment side of it as well.
Usually I do the opposite. I'm like, I'm gonna do something, and then not tell anyone and just kind of put it out there, and that's maybe so now I'm thinking about kind of my creative process. I tend to do that a lot, and I'll kind of prepare everything before I go out with something. So if I'm surprised, I don't even know if we recorded it, but I told you earlier that I'm going to write a song this year. It's out there now anyway, so now I have to do it. But normally I'd kind of sit wherever at home or whatever, and I go, right, I'm going to write a song. So I'd get everything in place to kind of write this song, and I'd probably write the drums obviously first, kind of pull all the pieces together, and I wouldn't tell anyone until I needed their input. So if I needed a guitarist, I'd be like, I'm doing this project, you come play guitar, but kind of keep it on the down low. So then when it comes out to doing it, I'm like, right, I've done this thing, I've had all this time to like procure it, I guess, and then put it out there. So maybe that's my kind of input stage where I'm kind of pulling everything in before I did it with this. I spent about 6 months thinking about how and where and what I needed to do a podcast. Because, I mean, essentially, it's a GoPro, a couple of mics, an interface, and a laptop. And the laptop I already had. And I needed, obviously, a space. So I needed a space to do it. And I tried a couple of different setups and stuff. And now I've just, but now I've got no chance. I've just got to keep running with it.
Something. There's definitely something in that.
Yeah,
like,
momentum, isn't it?
Yeah. And once you've got it going,
like
you can't stop that from happening. Then can you? It's kind of almost out of your control. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like when you commit to anything, like project-wise as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Same music, like if you think about, I guess you. Now, I mean, obviously, your Spotify and your fan base, like, you're killing it, you know what I mean? So you've got a lot of people out there that are obviously fans, so they're going, like, when's the next song, Chad?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's definitely that.
Like, it's like invisible pressure, isn't it? Because you've not got people coming up to you going, when's the next song? But it's going to be in your mind a little bit. You're thinking, oh, well, you know, you want to keep up a little bit, keep people's interest and, you know, and keep them happy because they your fans at the end of the day, you know what I mean?
Well, when I first started doing it, it's funny because the pressure came from like a different place. Pressure was much more internal when I first started doing it. Yeah. And there was also some like, you know, when you speak to other bands, a lot of bands get this, they'll put a song out, all the labels will get in touch. Yeah. Your inbox goes crazy, and then you think, oh my God, like, this is it. I'm going to sign Universal and everything's going to change. And then you're like, right, I need to put out a better song. And you just keep doing this. Oh God, the labels must be watching. Oh yeah, the next gig we play, like, we've got, you know, this will be the game changer. And you're massively in that headspace where your music's picking up, the players are going up, people are interacting, people are speaking, you know, people are coming to the gigs. But then you're thinking, oh God, like, I don't want the label interest to drop off and whatever. And I made that mistake when we first started. Right. And like, there's so many bands that I speak to now who put a song out, all the labels will get in touch with them. They'll be like, oh yes, I've had Atlantic have been speaking to me, or like Sony have been in touch. And you're like, oh cool, that's awesome. They've all said they're coming to my gig, next gig in London. You'll be like, oh, nice one, well, you'll have to let me know how it goes. And then you'll see someone and they'll be like, oh yeah, none of them came. And then you don't want to say it, but that happens to everyone. Like, the music industry is awful. It's like awful like that. And it can, you know, it can bring you up and then it can just pummel you down. And that gets back to my next point. It's like, I've done that. I've been in that headspace. It's not good. It's not good for the creative process. It's not good for writing songs, whatever. But the second you start focusing too much on that, you forget about these people who are actually into the music and into what you're saying. And so this year I made a conscious effort from January. Like, my mum was really ill. She ended up in hospital. Sorry, it was terrible, but she's okay now. Luckily. But it was awful. So, but I had this kind of like 6-7 months out of doing anything. Like when January, like July, August time, I didn't play. I think I played like a handful of gigs. Really? Wrote like 1 song, 2 songs, and I don't think you'd ever realise that. Yeah. But I made the conscious effort as well before that even happened to my mum, whatever. I made the conscious effort to, like, you know, this year I'm just going to make sure that I'm right in the head for this. The music's right. I'm doing it for the right reasons. You know, I'm making the music that I want to make, and it's coming from the right place. I'm not chasing the labels. I'm not, you know, chasing something that isn't there. There's people there that appreciate and respect the music, and people who care about it. People who buy tickets to gigs. People who drive from one city to the next, which is mad. Like, and it goes back as far as, like, you know, when I was like 17 or 18 or however old I was, and we were cramming into Mark's car and driving down to London to do our production. If someone said to me that at that age, I was like, what? But then at the same time, you sometimes stop yourself and think, you know what, like, this is awesome. This is like, let's forget about all the noise. Let's just focus on these people that actually care. And that's kind of the headspace that I'm at now. So, and then having that process where I didn't rush anything, because I made the mistake of rushing music out in the past. Keep that interest, keep that momentum, whatever. I just put music out now and it's right. And it's so much better for it. It's so much more honest. It's so people who listen to the music get it. There's no kind of, you know,
it's not forced.
Doubt in my mind. There's nothing like that. And now, when I write music, it's for those people that are into it. Do you know what I mean? In the same way that as a listener of so much music myself, I kind of hope that's the case with you know, the best artists that I listen to.
I feel like if it's very easy to get swallowed up in that and to, like, you know, try and please certain people, whereas if you just focus on making the thing good, or like you say, or honest and just like right, and if it feels right, if you kind of keep doing that, all that other stuff will probably drop into place anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like without
100%,
without
man.
trying, and it's but it's such a like a romantic ideal, isn't it? You're like, oh my god, this. You know, I had it like with plenty of bands where you go, oh, like so and so might be coming to the gig, or even if you take it down to like right back to when like, you know, Phil Saunders watched my band. Is that, you know, like oh shit, like phone might ring for a gig at the Empire, or and then obviously, and then you just add. You get really used to that thing, and you go, oh, was so and so there from, you know, some friends of mine, and I'm hearing it quite a lot from a band that I'm quite good friends with who live in London. And they have like a really good manager, and she's kind of promising them the earth a bit at the minute. And the nice lads, they're in a good band. I'll tell you who they are later. You know them. And I'm just like, they keep telling me like lots of really exciting things that might be coming, might happening. And they have got a really good manager, so I'm sure lots of good things will happen to them. And they're working really hard on the music. But I've just got that tiny little bit of cynicism from where I'm like, don't get your hopes up. You know what I mean? Because you just, that's all you're going to do. Is get your hopes up, and then you just get fucking.
It's exactly what happens, man. Like, and I tell you, I've been there. Like, you know, you sat in front of someone who's like quite a figure. In like in the industry or whatever, and like they're literally telling you this is gonna happen. Like, you know, this could happen. Oh, and they're showing this interest. You know, when you having this meeting with a label or whatever, and you're like, oh my god, like. The 15-year-old me could see me sat here having this conversation. Like it's very easy for you to drop into that mode of thinking, this is going to be it. This totally isn't. Like most of the time, like 95% of the time. And then that's when you take your eye off the ball. Do you know what I mean? And you forget why you did it originally. Like, why do you put yourself through it? Why did I spend 2 years of my life just not having a social life to learn how to use Logic? And it's kind of like, that's what it's for. It's that sort of, that real care about what you do and nothing else. And if anything, these days it's far more easy for a band or an artist or whatever to do things independently. Like, you don't have to, like, we're putting our music out now through an indie label Lab. It's like a good partnership, and that's why we chose it. And it's only a limited thing. It's not like a, you know, you with us for the next 5 years. It was a 3-single deal. And I thought, oh, it'd be cool. It's ideal. But at the same time, like, you can do things independently now and you know, actually, more artists are making an income from it now. More artists are getting the music out there because of Spotify. I know there's a lot of Spotify naysayers and people who are against streaming, but it's the way it's going. And if you don't adapt to that, embrace it, and try and make of it what you can. And I think, you know, it's an inevitability, really. It's almost, and it's not as shocking because it's obviously it's part of it's just part of our, like, the way we consume lots of things now, like streaming. But the naysayers of Napster, Napster shouldn't have put out like songs for free. But there's no stopping it. You like, no matter how many fucking Lars Ulrichs are in the world trying to sue them or whatever, it wasn't necessarily like Napster. It was like, because if Napster didn't exist, something else would have existed that would have done the same thing. You know what I mean? So if you can rally against Spotify, I guess, as much as you want, but you're not gonna make a dent in it. You've got to kind of accept it and go, well, what's the best way? Like, the music industry in general has been a crazy like case study over the past 10-15 years, I guess. And it's quite interesting seeing it from both sides, as, you know, like a performer, someone putting songs out and stuff, and even like the race stuff is on Spotify and like it does pretty well. And watching it go from like, you know, literally seeing bands and seeing how it's shaped, how bands make money and stuff, and you know, it's really interesting to now we're in this really weird like cycle of fucking Britney Spears playing Scarborough. You know what I mean? Like, you can't help but feel like, she's Britney Spears, she's doing, like, she's gonna fucking kill it, she's gonna do a load of gigs or whatever, but like, would she be really be doing that if she was shifting like millions of CDs, like she would have been if nothing had changed? You know what I mean? The live thing now is like, it's everything to an artist or a band now. If you know, if you can get out there and make an income from playing live and doing that, which there, you know, there's massive potential for that for a lot of artists if they can be that kind of act, then that's where you're gonna sort of shift it, really, and especially in terms of exposure and whatever. Even when you look at pop music, if you're an artist that, you know, supports a band in an arena or whatever, that can be the making of you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You only need to look at like on the pop side of things where, 5 Seconds of Summer did like a world tour in arenas with One Direction,
right?
And now they're like the next thing in that world,
yeah.
Or in like or like in indie, if you're one of them bands who can sort of hop on, say all the upcoming bands, if you can support Catfish on the like worldwide tour or something or whatever, if you're the band who can hop on there, then you're gonna easily just take sort of take that from that what you can, and it's good for bands.
Yeah, and they obviously they started out doing that. I remember seeing and hearing. I think Phil Sanders told me about Catfish and the Bottlemen actually, and I was like, shit name. I was like, you know what I mean? And then like listening to him now, it's like like for me, like the indie stuff of that vibe just completely washes over me.
Right.
But there's people out there that like it, and more power to them.
Yeah.
But, there's like a system, isn't there? If like there's like right steps to take. I almost think to a certain extent you might not need half the help that people are used to in the music industry, because it's all just there online, you know what I mean? You can see patterns now of how people do it and how people did it and just copy it.
You don't need an artistic director to make you an album sleeve. You know what I mean? You don't need a marketing team in place to be able to like utilize Facebook and sponsor posts or whatever and get, if you target it right. You don't need, I say this very loosely, you don't need a producer starting off.
Help.
If you know what you're doing, it's okay. Eventually you're going to need one. I don't care what anyone says, you're going to need a producer. You know what I mean? You need someone to tell you something. You know what I mean? Otherwise you're never going to get past that line. But that's one thing. You don't need to have a distributor for CDs anymore if you can do it online.
It's crazy that, isn't it?
It's crazy, yeah. If you've got a good manager and a good agent, you're laughing. But then outside of that, there's not a whole lot that you desperately need. I think, but I say that, but if you want to be the biggest artist in the world, you can only generally do that.
Because the sheer amount of work becomes unmanageable. You know what I mean?
Course,
so you need someone like a major label who has the infrastructure there to, a fucking CD press and to be going like, on the phone to an artist. Going, fucking CD album. Like, because I'm not going to do it. You're not going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. But I think Macklemore still make all their merch.
Right.
Still make all their CD like stuff, album artwork. They're like really strict with every typeface that gets used on everything. So their artistic direction comes very much from like them too. Yeah. And they're still like hold on to that.
Yeah.
Like the Holy Grail. But then, where were we? I digress slightly.
I can't remember.
We were on it's about artist and level. Yeah, so Catfish. Catfish were going for like 8 years before they signed.
Right.
So like they were like 8 years. Like it's a long time. That's like the difference between when you're 10 and you're 18, or when you're 18 and you're like 26. They were going for 8 years before anything happened, and they just kept going, kept writing songs. Yeah. Probably just kept staying true to what they did. Never really sort of
deviated from.
Yeah, never really did the whole. Like 1975, another band. They were like 3 bands before they were 1975. Yeah. Like half their songs off that first album were songs from their old band.
That they'd written. Yeah.
And they just reproduced them, put them out under a new name and stuff. Like a lot of these bands that have ended up sort of consequently doing well have stayed true to what they did. Yeah. In their own vision. They're not really bowed down or chased anything too hard. Yeah. From what I've been told. And I think that's kind of it.
It's important.
A key to longevity,
yeah. And I mean, 8 years, to do anything for 8 years that involves that much time and commitment, because a band takes a lot to do. So you kind of hit the nail on the head and it takes even more to do now, because we're looking after Facebook pages, we're doing Instagrams, and just fucking every week, and I love playing music. Sometimes there's no better feeling than getting in a room with some lads and just writing music and that whole creative thing. It's like anything creative. It's like it's a lot of fun, but it's hard work as well. Sometimes you just fucking don't want to go to the studio on a Sunday, write a song. You just want to stay in bed and watch Netflix. You know what I mean? Of course you do, like anything. So to keep that up for 8 years, fucking hell, fair play to them. And I think a lot of the time it's time in terms of a social climate. So if you're the type, if I start a Rage Against the Machine type band tomorrow, then the political climate is not right for it. I mean, it probably is now because of Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably some bands in America that are pretty fucking pissed off. But you know, if everything was sweet, everything was hunky dory, and I was like I'm gonna have to plow on for that. I'm gonna have to need some real fucking social discourse before someone goes, and like rallies behind me. I read like this years ago. I read an article in the Guardian about how and it was at the time they were like, I think it was bottom of the recession, just like maybe a year afterwards, so kind of like coming out of it. And it was saying how basically when commercial music gets fucking shit, we know everything's going to be all right in the economy because their case in point was like early Coldplay and like 90s, you know, like I can't think of any examples, but quite middle of the road, normal songs, easily digestible for people that are going to listen to it while they're in London having a picnic and the sun's out and they have, you know, they've got some bills to pay, but they're all right. Everyone's all right, and the music reflects that, doesn't it? Like it's kind of.
That's why bands like third albums tend to dip, because they've got loads of money in the bank. They've got nothing to fight for anymore.
Exactly. No reason to. It's. I mean, this is like total segue, but a lot of similar thing happens with some mixed martial artists and fighters and stuff. And, like boxers notoriously come from deprived backgrounds, so they've got fucking nothing. And then all of a sudden, I mean, a lot of them are crazy, so they get millions of dollars and then they spend millions of dollars, so they need to fight again. But some of like, you know, the kind of like how, like, you're really going to get out of the gym and go and get fucking beat up for 6 hours when you could just stay at home and you're like in your silk sheets in your mansion.
Being like purred on by your lepers.
McGregor right now, you know what I mean? Like, it's just sat with fucking $10 million in the bank going like, why don't you go and fight him?
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah, it's a true point.
Yeah.
True point.
But then I always feel that, I guess, a true artist will find you find that struggle within something, and I guess maybe that's why a lot of bands go political. I'm totally going off on a tangent here, but you know,
it's true. It's
get
true.
to a point where you're comfortable, you've got some money in the bank, so you start thinking about, well, what else is wrong with the world? What have I got to gripe about?
And some of the best albums ever made of
being
fueled by that.
Comfortable,
and like it's, you know, I guess anything that you can find turmoil in or some sense of discomfort. Like the best songs are sad songs, even if they sound happy. Like, it's funny, Springsteen said, blues in the verse, gospel in the chorus.
Right.
I was talking about this yesterday. And it's true. So like, even in happy songs, Dancing in the Dark, Springsteen, you get that sort of like, he's clearly not happy with himself, clearly not happy with the way things are going, but that song can lift you up like nothing else can. Like that is one of the greatest songs, in my opinion, ever written. Yeah. But then pop songs ever written is the most poppy song he ever written as well. But like, so and even if you listen to some of the best pop music, like really good pop music tends to have quite an undertone of sadness. Yeah. You know,
heartbreak.
Even modern pop music like has that, you know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in a minor key or whatever. It can be
not a sad song per se, but it can be about sad things.
Yeah, and I think that's why I always need to find that sense of, you know, what's not feeling too good. Yeah, and it's kind of, again,
it's funny how that drives creativity, isn't it?
Yeah,
the whole creative process.
100%.
Like, why?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Why does sorrow and that kind of like, I don't know what
make you pick up a guitar or sit on the piano or write words or whatever. Yeah. I guess it's because out of comfort you don't have that need to like, you don't have that need for output, and that's kind of where I was with the whole input and output cycle thing. I feel like
I totally went off on a fucking tangent there because you blew my mind about that. I was like, oh shit, I never thought about that.
But it's true. So like 3 months or whatever, a month, 2 weeks or whatever of just like things are going okay. Everything's kind of fell into place with this. I'm all right for a few weeks, you know, whatever it is, work, music,
life,
you know, relationships, whatever. And, you know, in that sort of window, you experience life and you're taking what you can. And there's a good chance that in that period, something's going to bum you out or something's going to happen or something's going to make you reflect. And it's at that point that you pick up the guitar again and the output happens. You know, you don't plan it just happens. For me anyway.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it would be working with someone else, working with another artist, and they'll trigger something off in me.
Right.
And I like hear something they're saying in the song or whatever.
Yeah.
Like Tom Joshua, I've done quite a bit of stuff with him recently.
Right.
Been doing some producing for him and some writing with him as well. And he's just an incredible writer.
Right.
Like insane. And then sometimes I'll be like working with him, and then he'll just set something off in something that he sung, and it'll just send me like spinning for a few days, thinking about whatever he was writing about or the way it was put across, and then that'll just trigger me back into my output cycle, and that's kind of
class.
Yeah,
it's impossible to find, like, it's so cruel, isn't it? Because if you had to write a song, if you needed to get a song out, you I can't write a song just because someone's told me to write a song. Yeah. Then you start, and the problem is, if it's not a problem, but like the issue I guess arises when you start, someone like that, as you were talking about, if you start looking for things, you'll never find them because you get lost, don't you? Just like everything's a fucking blur, and you go, is that a good song? Is that a shit song? You just fucking don't know. You really have to kind of take a step back and just let it happen.
You do. It's kind of like meditative in that sense. Yeah. Where you just kind of let it pass through you. And I guess good songs, like a lot of the best writers will say a song just comes to them, and it does feel like that, I think, sometimes when it's the right song. Yeah. Like some of the songs that I've put out that other people have connected with most have been songs that have took me like half an hour to write, and it's hilarious. Like, it's funny as I'll spend like 3 days trying to even get a verse together, and it's just not happening. I'll spend 6 months working on the production for a song, and I've got one song I absolutely love, a song called Over the Earth, and I reckon it'll be a Cape Cub tune at some point. And it's like, it's still one of my favourite songs that I've ever written. I've been sat on it for like 2.5 years because I just can't get it to the right point, and I just am not happy with putting it out as it is. But then like you write a song and take half an hour, and then it'll do really well, and then you're like, I was totally overthinking any of that. Yeah. And it's funny, and that's like, and that tends to be, going back to the sad songs under a major key. Yeah. For me, it comes from like a lack of musical knowledge as well. So I can only write in a major key pretty much. I'm terrible in a minor key. I would struggle knowing what I was doing. Yeah. But then, so a lot of my songs just end up naturally being in a major key. Right. Don't even when I'm singing about something sad. And I think maybe it's kind of working so far. I don't know why. But like, so like Happy Sad. I don't know if there's this film. I don't know what it's called. It's on these kids. It's a wicked film. I think it was on Netflix or something. It's like an independent Irish film. And these kids get together and make a band when they're like 13, 14 or something. But like each incarnation of this band throughout this process of them playing music together is like trying to rip off another band from the 80s. So like they'll go through like the Cure phase. Yeah. They'll go through like the New Order phase. Yeah. Then they'll go through like the Human League phase or whatever. And then they'll go through like a Bon Jovi phase. But it's just these kids trying to be in a band. It's hilarious. Yeah. It's got a guy who plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And but then they talk about the music in that, and it's a wicked film. And he talks about happy, sad. And it's true, like, happy, sad music, like The Cure. Yeah. It's why, like, The Cure, in my opinion, one of the best bands of all time, because they can make you feel on top of the world whilst simultaneously breaking your heart. And I think that's the kind of... That, for me, is the aim. Like, that's where the best music lies. Yeah. I guess. In that kind of, like... Yeah. And in, like, a modern frame of reference for, like, pop music or whatever, there's some really classic... pop songs out there that kind of spell misery at the same time. Yeah. Like, I don't know, I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
I've just got Prince stuck in my head.
Prince? Like, yeah. So Prince does it really well. Yeah. Prince does it incredibly well. Robin, Dancing on My Own. Yeah. Like, that is such an insanely clever song. Like, if you're not really listening to it, you think it's just this kind of pop radio tune. Mm-hmm. When you listen to the lyrics, it's absolute sorrow. Yeah. And I think that's where the magic is for me with music. Yeah. And that's where I really connect to songs. Yeah. God, I wish I had a list of like of that kind of music where
it's out there. Like, yeah. Make a Spotify play.
Christmas songs. That's why Christmas songs are so successful.
Yeah, you know what? Like Lottie literally mentioned that as well. Yeah. She was like, why is every fucking Christmas song about like being alone at Christmas? And I was like, I know, but they're all bangers.
Yeah, they are. Like Last Christmas. Yeah. Incredible. But it's like, listen to that song, you got the jingle bells, and you kind of like, this is a happy song, and you listen to the lyrics, and you're like, actually, it's a sad song. Oh, yeah. Or there's another one, Only You, Flying Pickets, / Yazoo did the original. Mm-hmm. But it's like, the original is this like pop kind of 80s like
yeah
electro tune, you know, not a million miles away from like what Hot Chip were doing a few years ago, trying to bring back or whatever. But that's like this incredibly sad song, and it's like, and it's one of the best songs ever written. Again, I keep quoting best songs they've ever written. Maybe I'm too into it, but so it's that's where the magic lies.
Yeah,
but I think that's totally underwritten by real life and real experience. And
definitely.
That can only come from like an honest place. I think that's why.
Class. Beautiful place to end it there. I know you've got to get out of here for band practice.
It's fine, man. It's
cool.
fine. It's great chatting.
Nice one. Thanks, Chad.
Take it easy.